Good morning, everyone. Kalimera sas. Dear Ambassador, dear Secretary General, dear Major General, I will be very brief, but I really wanted to thank you and to welcome you here at the French Institute. As director of the French Institute, we are very proud to contribute to foster relations between research and innovation on the first hand, but also between the French and Greek ecosystems. So, as I said, I will be brief. I really wanted to thank all of you, to thank, first of all, our sponsors, our many sponsors, actually, the co-organizers of the forum, and of course, a special thank to Mathieu Abgral, our scientific attaché, who worked very hard to make this happen. So thank you all for being here. I wish you 2 great days of debate, and I hope this will lead to concrete projects in the 4 fields that we have decided to work on. So without further ado, I give the floor to the French ambassador to Greece, Mrs. Laurence Auer. Thank you for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor, great pleasure, deep joy that I am opening today at the Institut Français this very first Franco-Hellenic Forum for Research and Innovation. And I thank deeply Mathieu Abgral and his team, but also the rest of my great team, because it would not have been possible without a lot of work and a lot of companies. It's under these auspices of the General Secretariat of Research and Innovation of the Ministry of Development. And thank you for the confidence that you gave us, including the signature during President Macron's visit of MOU, a piece of paper which is very dear to us, which includes the capacity for us to prepare the research feuille de route between France and Greece, which will help us a lot with this. This forum just came 2 months after the visit. It's one of the, I would say, the deliverable of the summit between President Macron and the Prime Minister Mitsotakis. We signed at this occasion a strategic global enhanced partnership which were oriented towards innovation and economic cooperation. Because when we signed the first piece of strategic partnership, we had defense. We had defense days, many companies organized in Greece. I have to mention Thales R&D days, of course Naval Group R&D days. A lot of companies did organize their entries of projects on innovation, but we didn't have a global scheme to strengthen the domains of higher education and scientific research, part of a ecosystem of renewed strategic for the industry between France and Greece. The objective of the forum is very simple, but also very ambitious. It's both ideas. The relationship are imprinted in the very high level of trust, a lot of human links. The researchers of the 2 countries work for now I would say, century. I should say, for instance, in the field of health, we created in this country in 1920 an Institut Pasteur. So, meaning the research was deeply rooted in our scheme of cooperation. But it's true that the world has changed a lot, and especially the European context has changed a lot. We have worked in the business forum during the President Macron visit, a lot of things for new cooperations. I must say that I was proud to have new topics on the agenda. For instance, all the services for financial possibilities. This was embodied by Euronext, but also a lot of new projects dealing with the sustainable development. But we didn't have a structured place where we could discuss about entries, methodologies, on how you create a better ecosystem together of this kind. 12 companies have accepted to support our ideas. Metlen, Energy Metals, thanks a lot. co-sponsor, Botanical, Eurobank, and its accelerator, EGG, Motor Oil Hellas, Naval Group, Coelco Group, Servier Hellas, Skynopi, Silver Sponsor, Alpha Banks, Biomérieux, EDF, brand sponsor. You see, it's a diversity of companies who were of interest to be included in this initiative in its many dimensions, because we also have this capacity to work and to reflect at the European level, and also to explain how you invest in R&D in a country of the size of Greece, from innovators that Greece has always had. I would imagine to mention, of course, the ship sectors, but also a lot for transportation sector. So in both sides, we will see that the respective research and innovation ecosystems are interested but insufficiently connected. This Franco-Hellenic Forum will create a space for dialogue, for exchanges, but also to create, in my view, an observatory to invest in the new topics of the innovation. Of course, I'm thinking of deep tech today, which is the new, space, quantum, and those aspects, and artificial intelligence, which include, of course, all our interests, public and private, but also the idea to create a sovereignty at the European Union, to be sure that one day when we have an innovation, and I'm looking at you, General, we are not actually subjected suddenly to shortages or to a lack of trust in the companies we are taking the technology from. Of course, I'm particularly pleased to see that a lot of French and Greek companies accepted this first opportunity to meet. I know that it will be in the long term necessary to continue to provide building blocks to have this European technology and sovereignty. It's not today that we will solve everything, but the list of the centers that a university today present is really a treasure. When I visited them one by one with Mathieu, with Katerina, I can assure you that on so many aspects, I will not mention one university or one center, but I always thought that this was really something we should build on, of course, for PhDs, but also apprenticeships, but also scholarships, but also the capacity to the French and the Greek company to take from Greek research centers the new capacities that we would need tomorrow in terms of people, persons, but also cooperation. Of course, in Greek universities, you don't find only Greek, you find a lot of international students, which is also an asset. And it's also the fact that we rely on this incredible trust that we have together for so many ages with all university. The Franco-Hellenic nuclei around is also a basis for building blocks with other partners. Of course, as you know, between France and Germany, between France and UK, between France, we have this idea that between Paris and Athens, we can do more. We can develop a project at the European level, now with the UK back to the Horizon project, but we also have a permanent idea that, yes, we believe in innovation. Your presence here shows something which we want to nourish and we want to continue. It's not only a one high-level discussion for today. On each of the topics, the maturity is not the same. I'm looking at the defense sector. You were first, of course, and of course you were there to create rows of companies which are smaller but very highly technological integrated. So it's our model, and thank you so much for being all there in defense. But now we want also to emphasize and to insist that in the energy sector, it is a fully booming period to invest in innovation. It is a fully booming period in health, robotics, but it's also of course, the artificial intelligence will help all the capacities that we have in Europe to be at the forefront of innovation. And of course, digital, deep tech, I was mentioning that, dual research. We know that we work a lot in France. We will have later in the day in RIA, a dedicated workshop with key experts will help on this question on how we, of course, create an entry, but also how we finance, how we deal with common issues. Artificial intelligence is a common issue, cybersecurity is a common issue, but also the capacity to build projects for other companies from a startup. And thank you to the French Tech to be with us, as usual. I'm convinced that these exchanges will create new ideas. The B2B meetings are very important. The booths that you will hear, researchers, spin-offs, but also going beyond the discussions to keep a list of persons that can be together working and to create an occasion to take the floor in different forums in Greece. I'm very much impressed that only in the June months you have 4 type of research forums on energy and on defense, whereas I feel we should work differently. We should create projects that we can show as models. For instance, it's great that LCAC is with us, but it's not only through LCAC that you will generate investments on those topics and you will share technologies. At the end of this speech, and I apologize for being long, but it was really something that I believed very much. This initiative for me will create actually hopes in the universities for new generation, new vocations. It will create fresh air in the research centers that are all working hard to cope with the using of the funds of the recovery fund. They are going to be innovative in science, in scientific domains, and it's going to be as well for the youth a capacity in the coming year to send to France, exchange young researchers, exchange innovators, not only with companies, but also without our system in CNRS. So thank you so much to the French Institute, Maria Wadjinny and Mathieu Abgral for this amazing initiative, alongside with Katharina Manali and all the team of the CCI, Chamber of Commerce. But also, thank you to Business France, Expertise France, French Tech. All together, we are a French team, but we are very proud of you. Thank you all for all the participants, and have a good forum.
And so it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Secretary General for Research Innovation, Dimitrios Terzis, to the floor.
Madam Ambassador, Mr. Special Secretary, distinguished speakers, representatives of the research and innovation ecosystem, ladies and gentlemen, Europe is facing a rapidly changing and challenging geopolitical environment, increasing technological competition, strategic dependencies that raise security concerns, and the urgent need to accelerate the green and digital transitions. In this context, research and innovation are no longer only tools of scientific progress. They have become instruments of competitiveness, resilience, and sovereignty. This intense Today Forum reflects the maturity of the Franco-Hellenic relationship, but also a very practical ambition to turn research excellence into industrial capacity, innovation partnerships, and European strategic autonomy. We aim to fulfill this ambition via 4 clear objectives. I would like to start with a few words on these objectives from the perspective of GSRI, the General Secretariat for Research and Innovation, which I have the honor to serve. The first of the 4 objectives is to structure a sustainable Franco-Hellenic dialogue between researchers and companies. As you know, Greece and France already cooperate strongly in Horizon Europe, especially under the global challenges and European industrial competitiveness pillar, with emphasis on 3 broad sectors: digital industry and space, climate, energy and mobility, and food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture and environment. Scientific excellence is also supported through the Marie Curie actions, focusing on researcher mobility, training, and collaborative infrastructure, while supporting breakthrough innovation via EIC, the European Innovation Council. The second objective of this forum is to strengthen Greece's attractiveness as an innovation hub. Indeed, Greece combines highly qualified researchers, internationally recognized research centers, most of which, by the way, including Institut Pasteur, are directly supervised by the GSRI, competitive operating conditions, and strong political commitment to R&D, research and development. Among numerous other government initiatives, the Research Innovate 21-27 program, with an initial budget of 300 million euros, is connecting research with entrepreneurship, while supporting the competitiveness, productivity, and international orientation of Greek enterprises. The third objective of this forum is to highlight young talents' innovative projects, students, PhD candidates, startups, and academic spin-offs. Young researchers and founders are already part of Europe's innovation capacity of today. As the Secretary General of Research and Innovation, I am proud to note that our government, since 2019, has managed to raise the R&D expenditure to 1.54% of the GDP and has also implemented a series of policies to boost innovative entrepreneurship. Consequently, Greece has developed a strong innovation momentum clearly visible in our startup ecosystem. In 2025 alone, Greek startups raised 732 million euros, a 35% increase compared to 2024. Based on PitchBook data, Forbes reports that Greece was the fastest growing venture capital market in Europe for 2025. One of the 17 organizations GSRI supervises or supports is Elevate Greece, the official registry of Greek startups, which currently includes over 1,000 innovative companies. The broader Greek startup ecosystem is now estimated to be worth around 12 billion euros. These figures show that we are rapidly moving from potential to performance and scale. Finally, the fourth objective of this forum is to promote operational R&D partnerships. Towards that goal, the B2B meetings, matchmaking platform, workshops, and technical seminars are not just side activities. They are central to the forum, and this is where a scientific result can meet an industrial need, where a startup can find a partner, where a bilateral contact can become even a European consortium. In addition to these four clear objectives, I'm pleased to note that this forum also has four thematics that are closely related to the four sectors of STEP, the Strategic Technologies for Europe platform, which entered into force in March 2024 and has already mobilized nearly 30 billion euros in funding. The four thematics of our forum, mentioned in the order used by STEP, are digital technologies and AI, energy and sustainable development, biotechnologies and health, and, of course, defense and dual-use technologies. This close alignment with STEP means that the themes discussed here in Athens are not only crucial European priorities, but they are also at the very core of the enhanced comprehensive strategic partnership signed in April by Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis and President Emmanuel Macron. In digital technologies and AI, which happens to be my own professional field, Greece and France already have important joint actions. For example, we have finalized an agreement founding an intergovernmental organization for the development and exploitation of digital ocean systems and information services. This center uses satellite data and artificial intelligence to track climate impact on marine ecosystems. Our countries are also contributing to a common European AI ecosystem through the Horizon Europe and Euro-HPC initiatives, creating new opportunities in trustworthy AI, high-performance computing, and AI innovation. We participate extensively in Horizon Europe Cluster 3 on civil security for society, the Digital Euro program, the European Cybersecurity Competence Center ecosystem, and numerous EU cyber resilience projects. Greece's public sector innovation ecosystem also explicitly prioritizes the use of AI, the cloud, high-performance computing, and cybersecurity deployments. The digital transformation of the entire Greek government, which started in 2019, has gained pan-European praise. A further concrete example is the recent framework cooperation agreement signed in February by Elasat, the French space agency, Thales Alenia Space, and Safran in the Battlefield Redefined 2026 conference in Cyprus. I had the privilege to be the Greek government representative in the signing of that agreement, which concerns a next-generation optical communications system to be hosted on the future geostationary telecommunications satellite Elasat-5, together with an optical ground station in Cyprus. More broadly, space applications, Earth observation, and secure satellite communications represent a promising area for deeper Franco-Hellenic cooperation, building on existing industrial partnerships and our common participation in ESA programs. Regarding the second thematic of this forum, energy and sustainable development, we need to remember that energy transition acts as a driver of competitiveness. For Greece, sustainable energy, environment, and the circular economy are key priority sectors for 21-27, with emphasis on renewable energy, efficiency, storage, and low-carbon technologies. And let us also not forget the growing potential of nuclear energy, for which our two countries are also on the same page. The GSRI participates actively in the European Clean Energy Transition Partnership, together with organizations like France's Agence Nationale de la Recherche and the Pays de la Loire Region Council. This creates opportunities for joint projects in clean energy, storage, smart grids, and low-carbon technologies, as well as islands, ports, maritime infrastructure, and Mediterranean climate resilience. The third thematic, biotechnologies and health, is also a strategic sector for both our countries. Health is a domain where biomedical research, digital sovereignty, AI, and secure data infrastructures converge. France and Greece already cooperate within European frameworks such as Horizon Europe Health projects, the European Health Data Space, and the AI factories. Yet, bilateral potential remains significant, particularly in digital health, AI-enabled medicine, secure health data, biotechnology, personalized healthcare, medical technologies, and health system resilience. Finally, the fourth thematic of our forum, again in step ordering, is defense and dual-use technologies such as AI, robotics and autonomous systems like drones, advanced materials, sensors, secure communications, cybersecurity, space-based services, and even traditional technologies with both civilian and defense applications like shipbuilding. Many of these technologies are present in the 24 Rafale aircraft and the 4 FTI Belara frigates that Greece has procured from France. As you know, defense innovation has been rapidly gaining momentum in Europe since the start of this decade, and even more during the past couple of years. In Greece, the Hellenic Center for Defense Innovation, HCDI or ELCAC, was established in 2024 to develop the national dual-use and defense R&D ecosystem. By the way, I'm proud to say that I had a small part in the creation of ELCAC myself. A concrete example of Franco-Hellenic and European capacity building is the ELCAC Defense Innovation Project, supported by Expertise France and financed by DG Reform. European instruments such as EDF, the European Defence Fund, can help transform this cooperation into sustainable projects. Ladies and gentlemen, the alignment between this forum, the Franco-Hellenic Strategic Partnership, and STEP gives our cooperation a clear policy and funding horizon. Our task is practical: to prepare strong European proposals, identify joint projects, connect Greek and French researchers with companies, bring startups into industrial partnerships, and use the matchmaking platform to generate real follow-up. With this ambition, may I welcome everybody to this event, the first Franco-Hellenic Research and Innovation Forum, and extend my gratitude and thanks to the Embassy of France in Greece, the Institut Français de Grèce, and all other contributors and supporters of this excellent initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. And now it's my pleasure to call to the floor Ioannis Mastrogeorgiou, Special Secretary to the Prime Minister responsible for strategic planning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Ambassador, Excellencies, dear friends, Secretary General, dear friends from France and Greece as well. It is, of course, a great honor for me to be here and to participate on this first Hellenic French Forum on Research and Innovation. The forum takes place, as it was mentioned before, at a very particular moment. It comes shortly after the visit of President Macron in Athens and after the decision of the two countries and the two state leaders to deepen their cooperation in higher education, scientific research, health, defense, energy, and of course, artificial intelligence. But I will begin with a more simple proposition that the Greek and the French relationship, of course, is not only a bilateral one, it is a European one in its essence. It is, of course, a Mediterranean one in its geography, and it is strategic in its purpose. So today it must become technological in its ambition. For many decades, Greeks and French have spoken about friendship, culture, history, democracy, enlightenment, Philhellenism, the Mediterranean, Europe. All these remain true, but in the age of AI and geopolitical fragmentation, as Dimitrios mentioned before, energy insecurity and hybrid warfare, you know better than I do, friendship must also acquire operational depth. So the question before us is not whether Greece and France have strong ties. We do have strong ties. The real question is whether we can turn these strong ties into a new architecture of knowledge, technology, and power. Because in our time, research is not a luxury. Innovation is not a decorative word in a policy document. Technology is not only a neutral tool, politely on the shelf. Technology is power. Scientific capability is sovereignty. And the countries that cannot produce, understand, govern, and deploy critical technologies could not be truly autonomous. This is why today's forum matters. And this forum must be something different. It must become also a platform for concrete cooperation between universities, research centers, defense industries, startups, public administrations, energy systems, artificial intelligence laboratories, and strategic planners. Naval power, of course, remains essential. Air superiority remains essential. Deterrence remains essential, but the battlefield is being transformed by drones, by autonomous systems, cyber operations, satellite intelligence, electronic warfare, and algorithmic speed. In the wars and crises of our age, the distance between laboratory and a battlefield is becoming shorter and sometimes dangerously short. Greece and France should work together on cyber defense, maritime surveillance, counter-drone systems, secure communications, AI-enabled logistics, battlefield data integration. And as I used to say, this is not science fiction, it's becoming a science fact. The Mediterranean, of course, is not a calm lake. It is a geopolitical corridor, an energy corridor, a migration corridor. Greece and France understand it better than most of other countries, and we both know that European security does not stop at the Alps or here in the Mediterranean on the Greek side. Therefore, defense innovation is not only about weapons, it is about resilience. And of course, this is where artificial intelligence becomes decisive. AI is not simply another sector of innovation. It is a general purpose technology that will transform all sectors: defense, energy, health, education, public administration, industry, and culture. For Greece and France, AI cooperation should not be confined to abstract declarations about ethics, nor to narrow industrial competition. We need a full-stack approach. France has built one of the strongest European AI ecosystems with world-class research institutions, a dynamic startup scene, major public investment, and a clear ambition to become a leading AI power. Greece, for its part, is moving with increasing seriousness through the national AI strategy process, through the work of our research centers, through the growth of our startup ecosystem, through the Pharos AI factory, and through the strategic use of the Daedalus supercomputer. At the Special Secretariat, we at the Special Secretariat of Foresight, under the presidency of the Greek government, we have tried to contribute precisely to the shift, to bring the long-term thinking into the core of public policy. Foresight, ladies and gentlemen, is not a prediction. Foresight is often vanity with spreadsheets. Foresight is disciplined imagination, and this is exactly what Europe needs today. Strategic autonomy, and I go back to what Europe needs as well, does not mean isolation, and it's not anti-American or anti-Chinese. It means the capacity to choose. It means partnerships from a position of capability and not dependency. It means openness without naivety, cooperation without vulnerability. So, I would like to make a concrete proposal to this forum. Let us add a horizontal theme to the four excellent sectors already identified, which is defense, energy, health, and AI. Let us place European technological autonomy at the center of this forum, not as a slogan, as a work program. Where can our universities and research centers create joint laboratories? How can we connect French AI capacity with Greek research excellence and Mediterranean use cases? How can defense innovation be accelerated through public procurement? How can energy systems use AI while remaining secure, resilient, and sustainable? And ladies and gentlemen, these are not theoretical questions. These are the new grammar of sovereignty. In defense, we should explore a Hellenic-French program for AI-enabled maritime security in the Mediterranean. In energy, we should cooperate on AI for grid stability, renewable forecasting. In health, we should build trusted AI applications for diagnostics, prevention, hospital management. In higher education and research, we should expand joint doctoral programs, research mobility, dual degrees. The future of cooperation, ladies and gentlemen, is not only ministerial. It is doctoral, it is laboratory-based, it is young. And here, Greece and France share a deep advantage. We are not countries without memory. We are civilizations with scientific ambition. We understand that technology without philosophy can become dangerous. But we also understand that philosophy without technology can become powerless. And of course, this is why our cooperation must be ambitious, practical, and measurable. So, this would allow Greece and France to act not only as partners, but as agenda setters inside Europe. Caution is necessary, paralysis is not. The age of artificial intelligence will reward societies that can combine speed with responsibility, innovation with trust, and strategic ambition with democratic legitimacy. Greece and France can help Europe find that balance. Our two countries know very well that democracy is fragile. We know that freedom requires defense. We know that sovereignty requires knowledge. But civilizations do not only survive by memory, they survive by renewal. The Hellenic-French relationship has often been described with the phrase Greece-France alliance. Today, we must give this alliance its next meaning. Greece and France alliance in research, in innovation, in defense technology, in AI, alliance for European technological autonomy. Let us therefore use this forum not only to exchange ideas, but also to build projects. Let us connect laboratories with ministries, startups with procurement, universities with defense needs, AI researchers with public missions. The future will not wait for Europe to feel fully ready, but Greece and France can help Europe become ready faster. Thank you very much.